What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is the Blacklist, Season 4, Episode 19, Bogdan Krilov. So, very interesting episode. Moves the plot forward, also gives us some interesting turn of events. So, let's talk about it. First of all, let's talk about the main plot, which does get forwarded a little bit in this one. So, Reddington is trying to track down Mr. Kaplan. And so he gets on a train that he suspects she's on. I can't remember how he came to that conclusion, but there's a girl already on there and says, "Oh, you must be Reddington. She told me to give you this phone." So he calls her, she tells him where she is, and apparently he figures out who she's going to go see. And so he needs the information for the bodies that were dug up at the ice rink. He gets the information. One of them is the son of this guy, who apparently Reddington, when he was first starting out, was friends with this guy. And his son, and so he faked his son's kidnapping by getting these two guys who are apparently renowned for being terrible people. He had them kidnap his son so that way he could work to sort of, get his son back by being the scariest man out there, and so it would kind of cement his reputation. And unfortunately, because the guys he hired were so insane, they killed the son in the process, and so that ended up being kind of, I guess it helped his reputation, but at the same time, it was also something he regrets. And so because the body of the son was buried by Mr. Kaplan in the ice rink, she pulls the body back up, and then she goes to tell this guy about it. Well, Reddington goes there, and of course this guy doesn't want to talk. He just wants to kill Reddington for what he did. Well, he ends up getting the drop on him and kills him in the process. And so that's kind of where that leaves off, with him calling Mr. Kaplan and telling him, I had to kill that guy, and she's like, "Oh, well, now all of his men are going to be coming for you." So, not really sure where that leaves Reddington, but at the moment, it looks like he and Dembe are kind of stuck where they are, because I think he said that this guy's men are probably waiting for him at the plane. So, not really sure where that's going to lead, but it's very interesting. As far as the main plot for this episode, we see that Mr. Kaplan goes and visits this guy who apparently is very good at manipulating memories. Well, we come to find out that this guy is also the one that manipulated Liz's memories so that she doesn't remember what happened the night that her father died. Well, died. So they're trying to figure out exactly what this guy is up to. Well, in the process, Wrestler gets a call about this woman who apparently saw somebody coming out of Reverend Wright's home, and so she's a witness for what happened. Well, he goes to talk to her, and then all of a sudden gets flashbang and gets knocked out, and the girl gets taken. Well, we see that apparently that was all set up. The girl was actually working for Krilov the entire time, and so they knock Wrestler out, and Krilov implants these memories of him talking to that lady that works in the government that was responsible for Reverend Wright's murder. She works for the Cabal. She's the one that they were fighting for quite a while. So Krilov convinces Wrestler that she's the one that took this witness and convinces him that she's responsible for it, and so they drop him off outside of her house and send Wrestler in on a mission. So that's what happens. He goes in, threatens her the entire time, but luckily Liz and Samar figure out what's going on. They capture Krilov, get the information out of him, and so they use that information to track down Wrestler, get there just in time, but unfortunately it's a bit too late because Wrestler still is responsible for shooting a guy in the leg and threatening him with a gun, and because she's so powerful, he's probably going to be held under, I guess, investigation until they can figure it all out. But luckily they do have Krilov, so there will be a good chance that they're able to get him exonerated fairly quickly because of the information that Krilov has. But at the same time, he wants full immunity, and he'll tell Liz not only about what he did for Wrestler, but he'll also tell her that apparently he manipulated her memories 2 years ago when she was figuring out stuff about Reddington. So don't know if this is actually true or if this is just something that he's trying to use as sort of leverage to get himself released with immunity, but it's something else to think about. It's one of those things that I keep talking about that this show does very well, is it makes me question, can we trust Reddington? And it's been doing that throughout most of these past, honestly, this past season in general. Ever since we met Alexander Kirk, ever since we found out that Reddington apparently was responsible for taking Liz away, ever since that happened, it's just been a can we trust Reddington type of story. And now that Mr. Kaplan is the one fighting him, and we find out what exactly happened with her and all the stuff that Reddington did back then, it does kind of make you question, is he really the good guy in all of this, or is he somebody that Liz really shouldn't be trusting and working with? So, yeah, I find all of this very interesting, and this just adds sort of another layer to it. There is a possibility that Kaplan just said, hey, if you ever meet Elizabeth Keene again, just tell her that you have this information. And, maybe she's just trying to plant seeds of doubt in Liz's mind, but it's something to look forward to find out, is this true or not. So, really looking forward to that, but ultimately this does leave the team a bit broken because, now Wrestler's out of the game for the moment. Reddington's now stuck wherever he is. And on top of that, Liz, who's been avoiding this Detective Gale's calls all day, she finally goes to the ice rink and he shows up and is very creepy about it too. Just like sneaks up behind her and just starts talking right behind her in her ear, and I'm just like, personal space? But apparently he starts talking to her and he's figured everything out almost. He starts talking about how there's all this information that he can't get to, and how he feels like Reddington has actually been feeding information to the FBI the entire time, and he's been using you in the process. And it just feels like he's already got it all figured out, exactly what happened, which makes you wonder, why was he working with Wrestler in the first place? Unless he doesn't realize that Wrestler is a part of this as well. But it does feel like he already knows what's been going on. He already knows that Reddington's been working with the FBI. So, I don't know. I'm curious to see what this guy's story is going to be. It seems like he's kind of that cliche obsessed cop where he didn't get his guy and he got kicked off the case, and so now he's just been working the case in the background the entire time. And so now that he has a chance to go at it again, he's like super hyper focused. He's just like, I'm gonna get my guy now. It's gonna be, I'm gonna get him. I don't care who I bring down in the process. So yeah, I don't know exactly where this is going. It just seems like another, I guess, barrier in the road in the quest to sort of stop Mr. Kaplan and what she's doing. So yeah, it's all very interesting. It's leading somewhere, and I can kind of see how the road is taking all of their different stories and sort of intertwining them, as well as making them meet at the end. So yeah, it's very enjoyable. I love the fact that this Blacklister this time, Krilov, he was actually directly tied into the story going on right now. And that's something they've done pretty well over the past few episodes, is that the Blacklister for that episode has been directly tied to the main plot. And that's something that has not always happened this season. There have been times where we've been taking a break for an episode and focusing on some random guy who's doing something bad that we need to stop. This is like every single person so far. The first one that started back was Dembe Zuma, and then we had this episode about Mr. Kaplan, then we had Philomena, and now this one's Krilov. I'm assuming tonight's new Blacklister is going to be involved somehow. So yeah, I really love what they're doing right now with this whole story. Every element of it is really exciting, and it doesn't matter. That's one of the things that I think makes the show enjoyable at the moment, is every story we go to is something I'm like, yeah, I want to know more. And that doesn't always happen. Sometimes for shows there's this moment or this part of the show where you go over to it and it cuts away from whatever's going on. You're just like, dude, I want to get back to the other stuff because the other stuff's so enjoyable. This one's like, it doesn't matter where it cuts to, whether we're with Red, whether we're with Liz, whether we're with Mr. Kaplan or the team. All of it's really enjoyable at the moment. So the only one I'd say maybe not as much, but still fairly enjoyable, is the Aram and Samar stuff. Some of it just feels like really, really annoying at times, but they didn't have any of it in this episode at all, so that was nice. But for the most part, it has probably been the most annoying part of this, last part of the season. So, but everything else is looking good. Looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do next. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this episode? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Blacklist reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.